I can't blame him for not wanting to continue fighting, because he's still on top of his game. He could still dominate many of those fighters, but sooner than later, his body is not gonna respond. His body's gonna is gonna be tired, and we're gonna see maybe a sad ending. And I would hate to see that with Usyk. I would love to see him retire the way he is right now, on top of the world, because if he goes in there, like I said, I think he has no problem with Parker, but it's still going to be tough. It's still going to be difficult.
I'm losing all. We've been trying for so long to get a world title fight. It's been so frustrating. No one can deny he doesn't deserve his chance.
I generally feel that, I think that I think Oleksandr Usyk will fill up the stadium.
You know what wasn't crazy, which I absolutely loved, was Joseph Parker's call out of Oleksandr Usyk.
They're so good, aren't
He's
they?
fantastic.
That must cost him about 750 grand to do.
Dude, the cameras on that alone. Because I'm telling you now, that was not one drone.
No.
A boxing icon delivers a bold message urging Oleksandr Usyk to step away from the ring before a dangerous showdown with Joseph Parker ends in disaster.
A big name in boxing thinks Oleksandr Usyk should just call it a day and retire before it's too late. That's right. Boxing trainer Robert Garcia is saying Usyk should skip the fight with Joseph Parker altogether. According to him, the risk just isn't worth it anymore, not at this stage in Usyk's career. Garcia believes Usyk's done it all and should walk away while he's still on top.
I would love to see him retire the way he is right now, on top of the world, because if he goes in there, like I said, I think he has no problem with Parker, but it's still going to be tough. It's still going to be difficult.
Now, Usyk hasn't officially decided what's next, but the idea of fighting Joseph Parker is really heating up. The WBO has already ordered the fight, and Parker's team is pushing hard for it to happen, but not everyone is convinced it's the right move for the Ukrainian champ.
He may be pushing it a little bit too much, but you've got to have your get out plan. When you go for work, there's a get out plan. I want to work this job for 7 years and I want to go over here. So his get out plan is one more fight.
Robert Garcia, who used to be a world champ himself and now trains top level fighters, doesn't doubt Usyk's ability to beat Parker. In fact, he thinks Usyk would probably win, but still, he's saying it's a bad idea. According to him, because of being 38 years old, Usyk's been through a lot physically. Garcia feels like one of these days, Usyk's going to run into a younger, fresher fighter who might take him down.
His body's already taken a lot. He's 38. We're gonna end up seeing him, if he continues fighting, we're gonna end up seeing him against a young lion, totally dominating him because of his age, because of his body already got a lot of tear and wear in his body. And we're gonna see a sad ending where that's what we're gonna remember. I would love to remember him as the greatest of all time, because he's showing to be one of the greatest of all times. I would love him to retire now and just call it quits and be remembered as one of the greatest of all times. I know there's so much money out there. There's so much, big fights, and it's tempting, to anybody. So I can't blame him either,
He doesn't want Usyk to stick around too long and end up with people remembering a bad loss instead of all his greatness. Garcia's message was pretty clear: retire now and leave as a legend.
I can't blame him for not wanting to continue fighting, because he's still on top of his game. He could still dominate many of those fighters, but sooner than later, his body is not going to respond. His body's gonna be tired, and we're gonna see maybe a sad ending. And I would hate to see that with Usyk.
And it's not just Garcia. Another voice chiming in is Lewis Crocker, a rising Irish boxer. He pretty much said the same thing: there's nobody else left for Usyk to fight. Crocker pointed out that Usyk's already won everything, from Olympic gold to being a 3-time undisputed champion. He said if it were up to him, Usyk should just enjoy his success and his money and step away from the sport.
Yeah, now last one. Can anyone in the world beat Oleksandr Usyk?
No. Who is there, for him to fight? You know what I mean? See if I was Usyk, just retire. He's literally did everything. He's 3-time undisputed, won the Olympics, won the World Boxing Super Series, isn't it? Yeah, bro, enjoy your money. You know what I mean? If he retires now, you could argue that he's the GOAT. You know what I mean? On resume, but yeah, I don't know.
But of course, there's the other side of the story. Joseph Parker is on fire right now. He's in top form and holding the WBO interim title. He's one of the most active and successful successful heavyweights in the game at the moment. A fight between him and Usyk would be a serious showdown.
I actually do think it's a good fight. I also think it's a pretty dangerous fight for Usyk. You know, a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, what about these younger guys like a Moses Atuma? I think it's a little too early for them. Joseph Parker's a guy who's a seasoned pro. He's got a lot of experience. He's a former world champion. He's big for the weight class. He's athletic, and he's coming off a 3-fight win streak that, I mean, rivals any one of the top contenders right now. You know, he KOs Martin Bakole in his last fight. He beat Zhilei Zhang before that, and Deontay Wilder before that. If anyone deserves a shot, it's Joseph Parker, and it's just unfortunate for him. He always seems like the guy who's on the outside looking in, doesn't ever get that shot. So I do think he deserves it. I also think it's a dangerous fight.
Parker's coach, Andy Lee, spoke about the situation and said Parker deserves his shot. Lee, who also trains Tyson Fury, made it known that if it were his call, he'd want Parker to get the fight with Usyk before Fury does. He said it's been really frustrating trying to land Parker a title fight and that Joseph's done more than enough to earn it.
I'm losing all. You know, we've been trying for so long to get a world title fight. It's been so frustrating. No one can deny he doesn't deserve his chance. Apparently, Usyk's on holiday. Gonna wait for him to come back. They got 30 days to engage in negotiations. I don't know. He just needs to fight Joe. Whether it's Usyk or the next best challenger. Who could it be? Who would fight him?
Lee also talked about the possibility of Parker facing someone else if Usyk walks away or gets stripped of the title. Names like Filip Hrgović, Dillian Whyte, and Moses Atama have been tossed around, but Lee doesn't think that makes sense. He said for Parker, there's really no one else that would make the same kind of impact as a fight with Usyk.
There's no one out there for him to fight. Unless it's for the vacant title. Whoever, could be forever. If it's a vacant title, like who are the contenders? Hrgović if he wins, Moses if he wins, Dillian Whyte if he wins.
Do you like the fight against Moses?
Speaking of Atama, he's only 20, but already being talked about as the future of the heavyweight division. Even Lee admitted that Moses is a serious talent, but he's also not in favor of Parker fighting him. He said beating Atama wouldn't do much for Parker's career, and the risk just isn't worth it. On the flip side, if Atama fights Parker and loses badly, that could damage his rise. Lee summed it up, saying the fight doesn't really help either guy.
For me, Moses is the future of the heavyweight division. For Moses, it's a risky fight. For Joe, it's a risky fight because there's no upside to beating Moses for Joe. There is. He's building his name. He's a significant heavyweight now, Moses, but he's an up and coming guy, and Joe's already at the top. So there's a risk for Joe, but there's a risk for Moses that he fights Joe, and there's never the same again coming back from it. You know, if Joe has his way and if we have a way. But it's a risky fight for both men. And it's an exciting fight. Maybe it's for the vacant title. It would be worth it. It'd have to be worth it. You know what I mean? So,
David Higgins, Parker's promoter, is trying to get the Usyk fight signed before the end of the year. He told Sky Sports they're staying hopeful that Usyk won't drop the belt and disappear. Higgins thinks walking away without defending the titles would be a soft move, and that Usyk owes it to the sport to give Parker his chance. He said, Joseph is hoping and praying that Usyk will want to defend the honor of undisputed champion, which not many people in recent times have achieved, Higgins said. We haven't given up on Usyk fighting Joseph next, he added. A lot of people are suggesting that he won't, but for me, that is a bit of a soft outcome if he doesn't. We are hopeful of fighting Usyk, and we are hopeful of doing it before the end of the year. Even legendary fighter Roy Jones Jr. gave his take. He believes Parker is the toughest test for Usyk out of all the current contenders. Jones isn't exactly picking Parker to win, but he's confident that Parker would push Usyk harder than anyone else right now. He said if he had to put his money on someone who could really challenge Usyk, it'd be Parker.
Well, you gotta look at it like this for Usyk. Usyk is a guy who can do whatever he wants to right now. He vacated the IBF, he went and got it back. You understand me? So it's just fun for him right now. So he can do whatever he wants to do, and he can fight whoever he wants to fight. So if they demand him to fight somebody, if they make it like they gonna force him to do it, he gonna say, forget y'all, take your belt and do what you wanna do. I go back and get it when I get ready. You understand me? But Joseph Parker is the best fight for him right now because Joseph Parker is a guy who has the qualities and the experience that it would take to give Usyk the hardest time. Not saying he's gonna beat Usyk by no means, but he will give Usyk the hardest time of anybody. And if anybody, I think if they said, Roy, if you had to take one guy right now, put your money on against Usyk, who would it be? It would be Joseph Parker.
Jones Jr. also talked about Moses Atama, calling his upcoming fight with Dillian White a big test. He sees Atama as 2 wins away from a title shot, but he also warned not to rush the young fighter. He used Jarrell Miller's early loss as an example of why it's better to take time rather than jump into huge fights too soon.
Haven't seen a lot of him. I have seen small clips of him, but he's fighting a good fight with Dillian White right now. This is the fight he needs to get that extra experience. So once he gets a few more experience fights, then you put him in with Usyk. You can't do like they did with the other kid, Big Baby from the US, and put him in too early because you're ruining him. You understand me? You can't put him in too early like that. So if you give him a few more test runs, Dillian White is a great test run for him. If he does that, give him something a little bit higher than that, then you let him fight Usyk. Don't just rush him right to Usyk right now. Let Joseph Parker fight Usyk right now. Joseph Parker is in Usyk's time. This kid is coming up behind Usyk. When Usyk retires, this kid's still gonna be fighting.
Lastly, I do have to ask you before I let you go. What is going on with Floyd Mayweather, Roy?
I don't know what's going on with him. Sugar Ray Leonard said himself he thought he would beat him.
The heavyweight division is really in a strange place right now. Usyk has all the belts, which makes him the man to beat. But he's getting older, and more people are wondering if now is the time to hang up the gloves. If he doesn't fight Parker, the belts might end up getting split, and the division could get messy again.
It's a good fight. If he'll put up a great fight, I still see Usyk obviously taking over and dominating in another spectacular performance. But let's also remember that Usyk is 38 already. So me personally, I like Usyk. I've known him. He trained in my gym, in Oxnard, and they're great people. Him and Klimas, we nothing but respect for that team. I would love to see him retire the way he is right now, on top of the world.
Frank Warren, who promotes both Parker and Fury, has said Parker should be next in line for Usyk, but that fight hasn't been made official yet. If Usyk chooses to fight Tyson Fury again instead, especially for a trilogy, then Parker might be left waiting, or maybe even forced to fight someone else for a vacant title.
I generally feel that, I think that I think Oleksandr Usyk will fill up the stadium.
Really? Is that a Tottenham fight, yeah?
Yeah, I think he could do that. I really do. I think he's. I'm sure he can do that. What he's done. People like him. The fans love him.
To be fair, Joe Parker's known to the British audience as well.
And Joe's there, and Joe's on a roll, and he's had a good run of wins. It's a good fight. It's a good fight when it happens.
So the question is this: should Usyk take one more fight, risk it all against a younger, dangerous opponent like Parker, or leave now while he's still unbeaten as a heavyweight and sitting at the top? It's a tough decision. On one hand, people like Garcia and Crocker are telling him to leave while he's ahead, protect his legacy, and avoid the sad ending we've seen with so many other great fighters. They don't want to see Usyk stick around too long and end up losing to someone just because his body gave out. On the other hand, Parker's team and people like Roy Jones Jr. think this fight needs to happen. They believe Parker has earned his shot, and Usyk owes it to the sport to defend the undisputed crown one last time.
You know what wasn't crazy, which I absolutely loved, was Joseph Parker's call out of Oleksandr Usyk.
They're so good.
He's fantastic.
That must cost him about 750 grand to do.
Dude, the cameras on that alone. Because I'm telling you now, that was not one drone.
No.
As a man that's kind of been behind the scenes when it comes to camera work, there's a lot of stuff going on over there. His call outs are so unique. I feel like it's going to fall on deaf ears.
Unfortunately, it will.
I appreciate the call out.
I appreciate that. I remember he did it with Dillian White and Anthony Joshua last year. And every one of them, they just get better and better. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I will say this now, right? I would rather see Parker versus Usyk than Dubois versus Usyk. I'll say it now.
Really?
I don't think we'll get Parker with Usyk, but I would rather see it.
Why?
If Usyk does take the fight and wins, he adds another strong name to his resume and maybe walks away afterward with no doubts left. But if he loses, or worse, gets hurt badly, that could change everything people remember about him.
You'd want to fight Moses now?
I mean, if it's forced, I'll take him.
Yeah.
But at the moment, no, not really. I want to be fighting the guys that are above me. I mean, Usyk, this is the only one right now.
What about Anthony Joshua?
I think Joshua, from what I've been seeing, is talking about Jake Paul, right? Or Jake Paul's talking about Joshua. You know what I mean? So if Joshua's really still, like Lawrence said, if he's still motivated and he still wants to box and give it everything he has, then he has to fight one of us to get back to the top.
There's no easy answer. Retirement sounds like a peaceful way out, but it also leaves fans wondering what could have been if he took one last challenge. Fighting Parker could be one of the best heavyweight fights in years, but it's a risk that might not be worth it for Usyk.
I'd like to see him retire, really.
Don't you enjoy watching him?
I love watching him, but I don't think there's anything left for him to do. He's been undisputed 3 times. He's beat Joshua, Fury, Dubois, even Maris Brady's down at cruiserweight. He's beat everybody. And if he gets beat, people will say, well, he lost. He can't have been that good. He lost. If he finishes now, there's no argument that he's one of the greatest fighters of all time. If he carries on, only thing that will beat him is time and age. So I would rather see him call it a day now and just be remembered as unbeaten, undisputed, and one of the best ever.
For now, fans are just waiting to see what the Ukrainian champion decides. Will he fight Parker and give boxing one more classic night? Or will he step away, protect his legacy, and leave the spotlight to the next generation? Either way, it's clear everyone's watching. Whatever Usyk does next, it's going to shape the future of the heavyweight division. One move could change everything. And as the voices around him grow louder, the pressure to choose wisely keeps building. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Should Usyk retire or take the fight? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates and breakdowns, and hit that bell so you never miss a moment of the action here on Ring Rivalry.